Hey guys, Tommy Carrigan with Tommy Untamed. We've got a great show coming up. Thank you for watching. You guys can see over my shoulder the 242 Energy Cola by International Gladiator Beverage. They're sponsoring the show. I don't have the QR code yet, but that link is in the description. You go use promo code TBC and try it. Actually, it tastes like the original Rockstar. And they're sponsoring the show, so you know what? If you drink energy drinks anyway, man, listen, it's got caffeine and it tastes good. If you're gonna drink an energy drink anyway and you like my show, kill two birds with one stone. I mean, I know some energy drinks like really everyone has like their favorite. I don't know, I like the Monster Rehabs lemonade. But if you buy if you drink energy drinks often and then you eventually start doing the math on how much you spend at the gas station, so you order it in a case. If you're gonna do it, try this. It's carbonated, tastes like the original Monster. It's in a bottle, so it looks cool. They sponsor the show. If you're gonna consume the caffeine, you're gonna watch my show. Hey, don't even join the locals or Patreon. Don't do that because then you give me money and get nothing. Buy some energy drinks, get some caffeine, get high off caffeine, and support my show, you know? Or don't drink them. Buy them and start a fight with them. Start throwing them at people. I mean, bottles, they're not a weapon, you know? Anyway, um, yeah, so I've been getting up a lot earlier the last couple weeks, which was preceded by not being on Twitter for a couple. I don't think all these things are unrelated, but I don't want to keep rehashing that because it's gay and boring and nobody cares. Um, so Uh, but yeah, in general, I've been waking up really early, going to the gym, and I always like to go from the gym to meditation and prayer when I'm all awake. And then from that, I like to jump right into a podcast. I normally have an alarm that goes off when I'm meditating, so I can jump into the. I just like that cycle of get up, go to the gym, listen to an audiobook at the gym, answer all of my emails, get, like cars. I don't know if they still do it. But when you'd run them in the summer and then you'd park and you could just hear them kind of like crackling and it's the metal expanding and uh, I guess shrinking after driving. Dink, dunk, dink. I like to do that with my brain. Gym, audiobook, emails, phone calls, thumbnails, descriptions, Zoom. And then once I get it all popping and firing, that's like the raw material. And then I sit in that chair and meditate, and that's like ironing it out into like a nice sheet. And then I come on and do the show, which is jumping onto the ironed sheet. Well, I guess that not iron, linen. But so where I had been doing like 2 p.m. shows for years. I think last summer I started to do them around 11 and 10 or 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. But before that, it actually starts to get harder to get people. And so now, like, what I want to do is shows at like 8 a.m. And that's a hard sell. Not for me, and they're not live. They're up tomorrow, so that doesn't matter. That's a hard sell to get guests to come on for that. And then that's if they're on the East Coast. Any other time zones, like absolutely not. So, but that being said, I am up, and I don't like it's like prime time brain power for me. That it doesn't matter what time I wake up, 8 a.m., 8 p.m. The audiobook to gym to meditation prayer. Right after that that's the prime time. That's the primo oceanfront property. And I have nothing to do right now in that time. And to me it feels like a total waste. So, being an absolute workaholic, I decided I'm just gonna start doing some like live solo rants. And I normally only do solo rants when I have like an idea I want to flesh out. But, you know, now let's see what happens when I have to produce a show. I don't have to, none of it matters, but just kind of curious to see how is this like a muscle I develop? Is this something that very quickly reaches the bottom of the barrel? Is this something that really can only be done once a month? Is there nothing there? I'm just kind of curious about that. And that is kind of the beauty of being a one man company is I don't have to run this by anyone. I don't have to like focus group this shit or send an email on some gay app. There's a zillion apps. Like, welcome to like Jabongle. Let us know what your new show. No, fuck off. I can just do that. I can just do this and then halfway through stop this, and then just not do a show for a month. Which no, I'm not. Actually, I'm not there financially to where I can just do that. But you know, figure why not? Why not do them? Why not do them live? And see what happens. And I'm now realizing as I say that last sentence, that entire really kind of intro was about the only thing I had planned. So now is the awkward spot of not knowing what to do now. Um, so I guess I'll just go with what's on the top of my mind right now, and it's so like I got banned from Twitter for a week like 2 months ago, and then that just led to me pretty much not getting on Twitter anymore because I found I have just more peace mentally. And that led to me going to bed earlier and working out more and dieting more. And then also in the last 2 months, I read that book about Grover Cleveland, I think Man of Iron. And Cleveland was described as an iron ship full of granite slabs, meaning that even the biggest waves barely knocked him an inch. He just kept going. He just didn't give a. He was not here for a presidential legacy. He was here in his mind to like do the right thing in the eyes of God. And I think that's wildly inspiring. But I also just I love that imagery of like a giant ship still moving, but just taking Mike Tyson haymakers to the face and still going. It's not getting capsized. They're not freaking out. It's just forward. And that's very inspiring to me. And I have almost none, but I have like enough savings to run the show for a year, which isn't enough. I'd like to have like 10 years of that. Not just for the obvious reason of who wouldn't want to have several years of, their salary put away. I get that. That's, what else is, do you also like French fries? Like, I get those aren't like novel ideas, but I like the idea of having savings, not particularly for having the show, but because of the actions that it allows. And also, I'll put it this way, like, so I have like a year of savings. That's enough that like I can be dropped by every sponsor, and I have a year to scramble and find out a way to go forward. And it's like, well, why does that matter? Well, once that year runs out and you have to go get a job, you can still do the podcast, but it's immediately going to be the quality and the quantity is going to drop. It's not going to be your A game. It's not going to be your A material. You're not going to do as many shows either. So if you couldn't make it work while everything's clicking, it's going to be a lot harder to make it work when less things are clicking. So that's one part. Um, but the best way I can describe it is like I have a hair in my nose that is driving me insane. The best like position of like I can describe from my own experience. I mean, we can all imagine what these things are, right? Having enough money to do this or not needing that or even having like a terminal diagnosis and being like, hey, dude, I got a month left. I don't care if you fire me. Or something like that. The best way I can describe it right now is the physical survival of the podcast. I got banned from YouTube in August 2021. Um, Around that same time, could no longer post on, about a year prior, I was banned from Reddit IP permanently. And I've moved several states since then, and they still got me tagged. I can't even make a new account, which is kind of wild. Um, but I can rarely ever get like shows and thumbnails up on Instagram and Facebook and whatever. Guys are driving me crazy. And that like absolutely spooked the out of me. And when I first started getting like warnings and strikes from YouTube in 2020, that's when I started uploading to Rumble, I think. And around that same time, I started uploading a BitChute. And not that I ever had a feeling that like those were going to be the things where the show lived primarily, but more of just like they had their own servers. Some things stream from other servers. So I don't know which this is driving me crazy. And I'm sorry, whoever's watching, if you see me picking my nose, this is driving me insane. Some platforms stream from other platforms. So like, you know, you might have something that streams from YouTube. If you, but that's not its own thing. So if YouTube goes down, they all go down. BitChute and Brighteon and Rumble, there's not one, Brighteon had their own servers. They still do, and they host. So I knew that I could just at least have physical copies somewhere else. And then the process of uploading the full library at that time, I was around 500 episodes, you know, was so the primary thing is like, well, wouldn't you just have them backed up? And I did. And dude, I have a, I don't know what the is in my right nostril is like, it's not even itchy, it's tickly. It's ticklish. The first thing you do for like survival of the show is put it on an external hard drive. And that's I did that from the beginning. That's just basic. If by the time you've done two episodes, you already have 2 hours of work, and it's just like, yes, save it. And then that grew and changed, and I have right now, I think I have like 100 terabytes of desktop. Um, so that wasn't really a worry. And then you have more like rugged external hard drives. They don't have the solid state, right? They don't have the moving platter that can break and shit. Have those, and those can kind of take a beating. The reason why I was so kind of adamant about getting the entire library up on BitChute and Brighteon and Rumble was that sure the podcast could physically survive on the hard drives I had, but it was also there would be a giant gap between if I ever to ever theoretically, and back then I was like on the off chance YouTube bans me, like, but it wouldn't be there'd be gap of like you'd have to upload the whole library. It wouldn't just be like, okay, I'm on BitChute. Like primarily, yes, the main thing is to have it on an external hard drive. More than one. Two is one is done. Ideally, though, you'd want it already up and up to date on other platforms, even if you never used them, even if you just, you know, never used them. Like I think I commented on one of my BitChute episodes, or I replied to somebody like a month ago for the first time on BitChute. I've been on there for almost 6 years, 1,800 episodes. For the first, like the last like 20 days. I like, so you don't even have to use them, but it's good to have them. And so back then, having 500 episodes still took like a month to upload to shitty internet and whatever. It's a whole, you can imagine. And now it's up to 1,800 episodes and you have more shows. You really have to just set aside like 2 months and go, I'm going to do 10 a day. Even though not even, because 10 a day is 300 a month. Yeah, sorry, 6 months. I'll do 10 a day for 6 months. My internet's better now, so maybe I can do 20, 30, 40, 50 a day. But it's a haul to get them up. When I did get permanently banned from YouTube, okay, that was good to have all the externals, but it was also good because I kind of had like turnkey. It wasn't like now I have to go and set up everything on these other platforms. I was already set up on BitChute, Brighteon, Rumble, and Spotify. Everything had been uploaded to date. I looked around. Rumble was I had the most followers there, and it was also just it seemed like there was the most action going on. And I was like, I will not focus on that. You got to just quadruple, pick a target, quadruple down. And so started doing that, and it's growing and all that good stuff. The point of me saying all of that is it was very shaky on YouTube, dancing around and trying to evade bans and warnings and strikes and whatever. It did put a scare in me when I got perma banned because then my next thought was, well, then BitChute Ready on Rumble, they might perma ban me. And that's when I went from just desktop hard drives and like one or two externals to buying a waterproof, fireproof safe and then getting like Faraday bags, multiple ones, and putting like five or six super rugged, like titanium, and the hard drives themselves are waterproof. And then putting those in fireproof bags, and then putting that in the fireproof, waterproof safe. No, sorry, putting them in Faraday bags, putting the Faraday bags in waterproof bags, putting the waterproof bags in fireproof bags, and then putting the Faraday water fireproof thing inside of a waterproof, fireproof safe. And then getting those packs and giving them to friends in multiple different states who all had gun safes. Okay. would still be an absolute bitch right now if I got permaban from Rumble, BitChute Ready on Spotify. It would be I'd have to upload 1,800 episodes, and it would just be. And you'd also want to keep the show going because you got to keep the manufacturing lines warm. You can't just like put it all down for 6 months and then start hitting up people. One, the guests like a neuron connection, those start to die and degrade. They start to atrophy. But then also a lot of it is you want people to know that you're good for 5 shows a week, plus or minus whatever, and that you have been for years. They want that regular go-to, even if it's not your favorite show. There is something to just like I know that there's going to be something there. There's going to be right, but primarily in terms of like real fear for the podcast, this is probably the only, as well as the most, which I guess both imply one another perfect encapsulation of the feeling of negotiating from a point of you. It's you money, but with physical hard drives. It doesn't mean that I don't care at all if I'm banned from that. It would be not only would it be a bitch to like upload everything else. I don't even know what other video platform is. I'm already kind of on all of them. You know, some of them started charging and then I stopped using them. I think Vimeo, Via. I don't even know if Vio is still alive. VEOH. And there's another one. I think it was I don't even remember what it was back in 2020. It might have been the predecessor to Odyssey, the library, LBRY. But Odyssey, like you had to pay to upload past a certain point. Same with Clout Hub. Same with I think Vio. And I stopped doing those just because I was doing so many episodes, and what's the return on them? Is the juice worth the squeeze? And I don't think I know. It's basic math, dude. I have a nose here. Oh my God, it's ticklish. Um, it's not that I like don't care at all if I'm removed from those. That would suck. Just because I'd have to, even if I could just remake an account on Rumble, which probably wouldn't be the case. If I got permanently banned from them, there's probably a reason, and then I probably can't just make an alt. But even if I could, it would still just be a bitch to upload 1,800 episodes. All your hyperlinks that you've been posting for years no longer work. That's another thing, is it's not just that you move from one platform to another. Every hyperlink you've posted, you could say, well, then you say, well, every time you post the show, make sure you post all the hyperlinks. That also is not good because people don't want choice. They think they do, they don't. They want one link and they want to be told where to watch it. You can watch it on here, there, everywhere. That's not, you don't want that. Now I do that in the description of every video, and you can find the description of every video on BitChute, Brady, on Rumble, Spotify, and it will have the links to all one another. That's different than where you post it on Twitter, where you send it to the guest. Hey, can you plug this? Can you share this? Can you pass it along? It's not it's not as simple as like, oh, you got banned from YouTube. It's like no, now every route you've put in has now just been pulled out. It's a huge bitch. That being said, in terms of like, am I actually concerned about like the library vanishing in my body of work? Just no. Not, I am more confident in that than I am my own mortality. Those can't, I don't know if I could destroy them. I don't know if people have moved. I don't know if they've made copies. I actually don't know if I could shut down the podcast. And to me, that is like the ultimate position of you that I've ever experienced. There are smaller degrees of you. Um, I'd say with like, the idea of verboten topics, I do feel that to a degree I'm in a position of you just because I got banned. So I just don't care. So like I've gone on podcasts before that are hosted on YouTube and they'll be like, by the way, no COVID stuff, no 2020 election. In my mind, I'm like, openly, and I do mean it. It's your business, sure. Sure. In my mind, I'm like, God, how do you? look in the mirror. Like, how do you, well, as long as we don't talk, you're not a man. And frankly, I think you should be worked to death in a labor camp. But I don't say that. Maybe I should. Maybe I'm the issue. But I do feel like I'm in a position of you. So if I have people like, well, I don't want to get you banned, I'm like, no, say it. I don't give a shit. I've been everything that's bannable, I've been banned from it. And so now I'm in this like whatever's left is you kind of can't hurt it. So go for it. Um, but like the actual feeling of like, can this show be destroyed now? From a feeling of topics, still feel pretty you. And the only topics that would get me banned are like topics I don't allow, which is like you can't pull out your dick on the show. You cannot talk about underaged people in a sexual manner. And you also can't incite violence and say go to the senator's house. So those are my lines of like you can't do that. So that wouldn't even get me banned. Financially, no, I'm absolutely not in a place of you. I'm in a place of like temporarily you, where like I'm not at a minimum wage job and this is the only thing that's keeping the lights on. I can survive a light hit, but I'm not an iron ship full of granite slabs. And that's what I'd like to be. And I'd always thought for a long time like I wanted money for superficial reasons. I want a flashy car. I want to, all this stupid like low-hanging fruit like again, well, you also like sex and you think winter's nice or you think Christmas is nice like like the more I've kind of dove into that thought in my mind is like, what would you do if you were given $10 million right now? And, I used to think, I don't know what I would do with it. And then the more I meditated on that, I was like, oh, I'd buy like this car and I'd do that. And then I've gone even further down that road. I'm going, what would I do with it? I'm like, actually, I wouldn't do anything with it. I would put 100% of it away in some like, you know, unaggressive, low volatility blue chip account. And then I would keep trying to survive on what I currently live on, which is Rumble, Spotify, Locals, Patreon. But I've gone down that road more and more of like, what would you do with that money? And I think now, because I always think of things, but things fade and they're not as fun and they go away. And it really didn't hit me until this morning. I was meditating and I was like, I think what I want is a position of you, not in the egotistical sense of like, get the out of my office. Not that. I don't, that's stupid. If you want to exert power, go on Grand Theft Auto and just start shooting people. You don't what the fuck do you need to hear? But I've thought more and more like my ideal concept for the podcast would be to be wealthy and not for the reasons. And this is what I used to think I wanted like a house and cars and all that. And now I'm like, no, 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 no. My car's fine. My apartment's fine. My wardrobe is shit, but I don't care. Like my health is fine. My internet works. So I can do the podcast and I can play games with my friends. I'm dead sober, so it's not like, oh, I'd move on to this drug or I'd go start going on these parties. Like I don't do any of that. I don't care. I don't watch TV. I don't watch movies ever. Like legitimately ever. On Christmas break, maybe. So then, like, what is the point of the pursuit? Why do you want the money other than it's, yeah, well, who doesn't want money? And I've gone through so many cycles of like, I would buy a Rolls Royce, and then like, no, I'd keep my car. And then like, I'd buy a mansion. Like, no, I kind of like my apartment. And I'm like, I'll buy a super gaming computer. I'm like, my gaming computer runs it at 4K, 60 FPS. Like, do you push the 8K, 240? I mean, maybe if you're a billionaire, sure, where it's nothing. But if it's any meaningful like chip in your revenue that you feel, don't what the f do I care? That TV is 90 inches. Like it's 90 inches 4K, 60 FPS. Like, and I got headphones. Like it's perfect. So then going down that road of like, yeah, no, I wouldn't do any of this. The only way I'd ever buy like a retarded car would be legitimately if I was like a billionaire and it's the equivalent of me right now spending like 25 cents. It would have to be so nothing that I'd go, yeah, why not? Why not go get groceries in a Lamborghini? But no, right now, no. So then I had to ask myself after hundreds or thousands of meditations, what would it, can then that is my end goal of the show is to make a ton of money. And the big picture is like, because I want to do some, I want to build a medical school or like a whole medical school hospital kind of system and name it after my brother before I die. It's not going to be something I leave in the will. It's not going to be a private hospital. This isn't some like familial enterprise I want to start. I want to build a hospital, a med school, because it is better to have a hospital and a med school than it is not. That's just the case across the planet. It's always better to have one more hospital. It just is. And I would like to leave the world a little better than I found it. That's like the big picture. I don't, I don't want to hand off like a podcast empire off. If I have kids, I'll, take care of you. But like, no, you don't know. You don't off. You're going to destroy it anyway. So I'd rather it go to a hospital. Well, when you're dead, people might use the hospital and they might start, giving themselves bonuses. Probably. But I'd still rather have a corrupt hospital than a parking lot. That's how I view it. It's better to have a hospital than not. Off. This is my ethos. This is where I'm dying. I'm dying on this hill, and you're free to kill me. I don't care. I've made up my mind. One plus one is two. Off. I want that, everything I just said in the last 30 seconds, I want that engraved in granite, polished granite at the entrance to the medical school. People read it and be like, yeah, that guy really was absolutely unhinged. Absolutely unhinged. My luck, I'll build a hospital where the next pandemic's created. Whatever. Still build it. So my point is then, like, what would I do with the money? Because I'm sober. I've been sober since January 2024. It's exceedingly boring, but it's also not painful, so I'll take it. I don't have a love life. I don't date. I don't go out at all. I live in a city and I've never once been to a single bar or restaurant here. I like working and I've just kind of made peace with it. This is just what I like doing. In college, I used to think that I liked working and working was superior to having fun and off. After college, after I lost my brother, I went down a long path of only having fun and off and thought working was inferior. And now I'm at a point where I realize that there's no one is better than the other. I personally enjoy working. Some people personally enjoy the 9 to 5 and having weekends with I have friends that every weekend they go watch baseball or football with the same dudes they've been doing it with their whole life. I'm like, hey, in college, I thought that was inferior. After college, I thought it was superior. Now I don't look at it as one or the other. I go, that's they're enjoying it, and man, go for it. I enjoy work. I enjoy goals. I enjoy progress. No part of me thinks that is superior. I used to think that, and now I really don't. I look at me working towards goals as no different than like, what do you want? You want vanilla or chocolate? I'll take chocolate brownie, just a little ice cream. That's how I look at it now. I'm like, one's not better than the other. I just want that one. I used to think it was better and think it should be projected on others and then vice versa. And now I'm just like, yeah, I just like working. I just do. I just do. It's what it is. So then what is the pursuit? And why is the pursuit? And it really didn't dawn on me till meditating like an hour ago. Today, August 5th, 2025. I want money just so I can be in the position of you. There's no like I want money so every day I can wake up at 2 p.m. and like lounge over by the pool. No. I'd kill myself. It's like, so then what do you want the money for? Would you change your apartment? No. Get a new car? No. Get a new phone? No. Computer? No. What would you do with it? If I had money right now, like you money, figured podcast costs, I don't know, can fluctuate eh, wildly, but I don't know, 48 to 60 grand a year. So let's say I had 600 grand, that'd be 10 years, or 1.2 million, that would be 20 years. Or even for the rest of my life, I'm 34, I'm 35 in 2 days. Let's say I go to 85. My grandmother lived to 86. Say I go to 85. I need 50 years. 50 years times 600,000 would be 3 million adjusted for inflation, but you would put it in mutual funds and index funds and bullion and assets, so it would grow with it, which is like the bare minimum I've learned about finance from this show. It's like, it's like when Russians would learn like one sentence in English if they ever got captured, like I'm just a soldier, or like vice versa. You just learn Russian, like I'm not CIA. That's like the one sentence I've learned enough so I don't seem like a total like monkey with like symbols on a unicycle. So like what would I do with it? And I'm not kidding when I say like it dawned on me an hour ago. And I've been thinking about this daily for years, and that may sound psychotic, and it is. But the entire history of this podcast has been insane gambles and tightrope walkings that somehow work. So I've stopped looking at things as like, oh, that's impossible. Now I'm just like, yeah, go for it. Most of them don't work. Let me be very clear on that. They don't all work. This isn't some, yeah, I just roll the dice every day and get double sixes. No, 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 no. That's not at all the case. Most of them fail spectacularly, but there's always my goddamn nose hair. Ow. And it itches. And it's gotta go. I can't even get a hold of it. What the is it? Ow. That's how I know I'm old, because like nose hairs have never been a problem in my life until like the last, I don't know, like year. I can still feel it. There's like a singular note, and it's not itchy, it's tickly. What was I talking about? Funny. Then why would I want? And yeah, so yeah, I'm thinking about it for years. Yeah, no, the double sixes, tightrope. It's not that they all work. That is not at all the case. It's a Venn diagram, though. Everything that does work is some risky gamble, tightrope walking, hole in one type thing. If you were to look at the major growths in the show, and you can look at it over 6 years and go, it's earned this much money. It's made, across all platforms, it's earned this much money. It's got this many views, this many view hours, this many subscribers, and a Rolodex of XYZ. But if you're actually going to break it down and look at like real growth, like where did it happen? It's like, okay, well, I'm 5'8", right? I think I am. I might be taller, but I always try to be sure and say 5'8" because I'd rather end up being taller. And I'm 35 years old. Well, you don't divide 5'8" by 35. No, the majority of it happens in what, the first, what, I don't know, what, maybe 10 years, and then again you hit another like puberty one. So if you look at the podcast, the main things of growth, now there is the slow growth where you just grinding and grinding and they're all interconnected. That's also the spoiler alert is they're not independent. They're all interconnected in some hyper complex feedback system. But if you were to isolate the real moments of growth have all been absurd chances. It's actually not at all like anything else. It's not at all like a GPA where it's like slow and steady. You got to get good grades every semester. You got to get a 4.0 each semester. And then that 4.0 itself is composed of five different classes. And did you get a 4.0 in each class? Each class is composed of different tests, which are blocks of 4 to 6 weeks. Each test is interspersed with quizzes, maybe once a week, twice a week. The quizzes are all interspersed with nightly reading and doing and doing, work problems. And the work problems themselves are all, preceded by hours of studying. It goes like that. Now, some of the classes are more valuable, chem, cellular biology, uh, probably general chemistry, physiology, less so the like microbiome, calculus. But it's still a slow and steady, consistent grind to build a GPA over that many years.
Hey there! Are you tired of skyrocketing subscription costs? With Q Broadcast, you get an entertainment package that is unmatched by other providers, with all your favorite content in one affordable bundle. Enjoy a 15-day trial for just $14.99. And if you refer 3 friends and they stick around, your subscription is free. Say goodbye to high-priced subscriptions, contracts, and hassles, and say hello to streaming simplicity with Q Broadcast. This changes everything.
Heaven's Harvest Prepper Food, 72 servings per pail, 25 years shelf life. I've had the owner Clayton on the show before. He's a God-fearing, America-loving patriot. Get one of these, get a couple of them, throw them in your basement. It's good to have it, not need it, than to need it and not have it. If you don't want to do that, you can get their seeds. You can plant your own garden, so you don't even have to keep buying them. You can just get the goods and start your own, or you can even get freeze-dried fruits and vegetables like bananas, apples, strawberries, and raspberries. They support the show. It's an honest product. It's a good safety measure to have, and they keep my show free for you. So I'd implore you guys to please go to heavensharvest.com, use the link in the description, promo code TPC. Axios Fitness Coaching is a premium resource for holistic strength and conditioning services. Axios is best known for the Training Club, capital T, capital C, an exclusive community that prioritizes accountability, technique, diet, and nutrition. Everything you need to do to take action against the decay of the modern world. Whether you're looking to improve your physique, build strength, or just take care of your health and fitness, Axios will provide you with the solution that is effective and simple to execute. All you need to do is complete the intake survey, and you can see if you're a good candidate for the training club or any other of the services. And it's going to sponsor the show. So, one company falls off, another one arises. So if you guys like the show, you want to work out, throw the show a couple shekels. Go take the survey. Thank you so much, guys.
Higher ultraviolet exposure is associated with lower mortality. The United Kingdom is a high latitude and low sunlight country. Researchers there collected data on over 360,000 participants in a study of UV exposure via solarium use. When compared with non-users, solarium users had 15% risk lowered of all-cause mortality, 23% lower risk of cardiovascular mortality, 14% lower risk of cancer mortality, and a 12% lower risk of non-cardiovascular, non-cancer mortality. In other words, all other causes. Quoting the researchers, our study adds to the growing evidence that the benefits of UV exposure outweigh the risks in low sunlight environments. A link to the original publication is available in the box below the video. Get some UV light this winter. Immerse yourself in the tranquility of the blue. Visit a Blue Room soon. www.blueroom.com.
But yeah, the entire history of the show has just been wild chances stacked on top of each other. Now, again, there's a point to all of this. It gets back to the meditation and the millionaire thing and the position of you. It's all tied in. Don't worry about it. We're gonna make it through. Even with working out is right when you start. Sure, you have some. I wouldn't say beginner's luck. It's more so you're just. It's like immediate progress. Your body's just stacking muscle. I've been working out for 25 years almost. Yeah, 20, I think seventh grade I started, maybe six. I think maybe seventh, sixth, seventh. So I don't know, 2002 or three. I think 2003, maybe 22. My rate is probably almost non-existent now at how much muscle I build. Um, but for the most part, you have your immediate growth, and then you have kind of where I am, where you're like super slow growth. But then in the meantime, There is anyone can start, any high schooler can start lifting and put on some muscle mass. But then the gap to just build a physique, there's no shortcut. And a lot of people take shortcuts and they pay for it. You die, your heart explodes, your veins don't have the what is it, the like the return valve. So you ever see those super steroid guys and they're constantly their veins are pumped and not because they're shredded. That's from the valves don't go backwards. That's why you see like the varicose veins in their forearms. That's bad. Those veins also go to your brain and your heart. That's just horrible for you. But if you just kind of put your nose down and just go every day for a long time, you will build muscle. GPA and muscle building in no way, shape, or form are the rule with podcasting, is what I have found in my limited experience. In some sense, that there is. You have your beginner's growth. You know, if your first week you did one show and you have one subscriber, and then next week you have five subscribers, yeah, that's 500% growth in a week. Sure. I'm lucky if I get, I don't know, what am I at, 50,000? So what's that divided by 10 would be five, divided by 500. Yeah, I mean, I'm maybe looking at like 2 to 5% growth a year. Yeah, that would 500% in a week. That would be me going from 50,000 to 250,000 subscribers by next week. Yeah, sure. But that's just an illusion of numbers. And then it stops and you have the long growth. All right. In that sense, it's like working out, you have beginner's luck. It is like GPA or the main block of working out. And then, yes, the long slog is just daily episodes, every day showing up, tired or not, excited or not, happy or not, depressed or happy, anxious or relaxed or whatever, is just showing up and building and building and building. But unlike GPA and muscle, the real turns, the real punch through the wall, you're just chiseling away and then the wall falls. Those all happen at random moments and from like crazy chance. It's just where somebody watched a show and they overheard it because their nephew was playing it and they heard it at Thanksgiving and they started watching and then they reached out and went, "Hey, do you know this guy?" And that's how you get guests. And most of those interactions are trivial. Some of them are bigger, but some of them lead to huge guests and some of them lead to less frequently actual revenue, actual money in your pocket. Um, and that's kind of an odd thing about it. Now, most of those chances don't work. Most of those chances fail. But the things that do work are really all on those chances. And I don't know if I'm describing that correctly. I hope I am, but it's a Venn diagram. It's not every wild chance and dice roll you take works, but the real growth moments of the show are 100% from those rolling the dice. It's really never, and again, I do actually don't, I would say it's not the daily grind, but I think the more you break it down, it actually is kind of all the same thing. It's more like it's more like a mountain and then it goes horizontal. It's like a plateau. And then one day you climb 500 feet on a mountain, and then over the next year you walk 500 feet horizontally, and then the next thing is five. Yeah, you could isolate those vertical jumps, and that's where the growth is. But how do you get between the growths? And it's like, well, the long slog. So they're actually all interconnected. Um, but primarily it's in giant leaps and bounds where it just clicks and then it kind of plateaus for like a year. So what's the point of all of that? Point of all of that is that one time is freak luck, twice is a coincidence, and with three times is enemy action. Well, the universe is also true for good things. It's angelic action. It's God looking out for you. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not God. Maybe it's just some super interconnected, the entire world is a cell and we're all proteins, and there is some feedback system where you break down a cell and run it all the positions through a supercomputer. It shows that none of it is random, from like kinetic cores to tubules to mitochondrial R to whatever the nucleolus barriers and membranes and action potentials. Like none of it's random. It just appears random to us because why is the camera just start doing that again? Sometimes Rumble does it where it starts like softening your skin. I don't want that. I don't want that filter shit. I don't want that faggoty filter shit. I don't want any of that. And chicks upload pictures and it looks like their faces have just been like steamed over with like plastic. It doesn't look good. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't look good because everyone knows it's not what you look like anyway. Just show all of the disgusting pockmarks and pores. I don't care. Got off. Do you want it filtered? No. I need a dick. Um, I would imagine that's probably not all like random angelic action instead of three times enemy action. It could just be some weird feedback system of karma that's more than ethereal, that maybe there actually is some weird like scientific measuring. If you do good, the good comes back. I don't know, maybe. Um, but so my point in saying all of that is so I've learned to not necessarily suspend crazy beliefs and goals and desires. I also have to be very careful, and this isn't some you just manifest it. I don't think that's how the universe works. I do think there is something to focusing and visualizing a goal. I don't know if it is that your brain actually affects reality. Very well could be. I'm not opposed to that idea at all. I mean, the double slit experiment that's kind of a big one. Same with like phantom hand and shit, as well as electron entanglement. I don't think I don't think it's all dog shit. I also don't know if it's simply okay, so it's Friday morning, you've had a long week, you're tired, you got one more day of work and you got a meeting, you got to bring your A game. But it's Friday, and it's not even a normal weekend. It's a 3 day weekend. It's a random 3 day weekend. And you got plans this whole week and you're gonna go up to the lake, you're gonna hang out with your homies, you're gonna get blackout drunk by a bonfire. Perfect. You got energy that last morning because you're ready. You got that goal right in your mind. We're gonna make it through this shit, and we're gonna punch through this shit. It is harder to dig deep into that well of energy when the goal is not tonight. Even if the goal is proportionally the same thing. Maybe the goal is in a year. Today's not Friday. It happens a year from Friday. But the goal might also be 52 times better. Maybe it's a 100-day weekend. I do think visualization is important in that it can, almost like a Pavlovian response, it can simulate that dig deep, work hard. It's Friday, do what you got to get through today. It doesn't matter. It's rainy. You're you're stuck in. You don't care, dude. It's Friday. You got plans, and it's gonna be great. You power through. You don't give a. Yeah, you let the guy cut in front of you. Go for it. You're going. You can visualize that, and it doesn't necessarily mean that, oh, you're manifesting it. It could. It legitimately, I have no idea. I don't believe that we have even unraveled 1% of like 1% of the brain and physics. But I don't think it even needs to be that. I think in the most conservative, reductionalist, materialist framing, because I would always just think about like how psyched I would be to get in med school, to just how proud I would be, and how proud my family would be, and just to know I did it, and to know I can do good in the world, and then I'd think about that, and it would, and I could rarely simulate it. Most days it was a bust when I'd meditate and think about that, but some days I could really feel it, and it would just it would give you that it's Friday energy, even if it was a Tuesday in January. Um, and so I do that a lot with meditation and prayer. I don't know that manifesting isn't real. I have no, I can't definitively say that. And not because you can't definitively say anything. You know, we think gravity is still a theory. I get that. No, no, no. I mean, like, I'm not entirely convinced it's not real. But I also find it very good to focus on these things to simulate that Friday energy. And that is why I'm very big on visualization and meditation and what would it feel like? What would it smell like? What song would be playing? What's the weather like? And so more and more, so this all comes back to when I said I've been meditating for years on what would it be like to just randomly get $10 million. Well, the entire podcast has been sort of absurd, not sort of, it's been absurd things happening. So finally I went, "Yeah, what is the absurd? Like what is the absurd?" And so to take all of that and go, and then for years I've been, man, I want this, and I used to think I would buy this, and I would buy that, and this gaming computer, I'd get a Rolex. There was a period where I was like, I just want like a $100,000 Rolex, and now I'm like, why? I don't, why? Again, if you're a billionaire, maybe, but I look at $100,000 now as I'm like, that's a year and a half of podcasting. Like, sell that and, do another 500 shows. So the more I've dug deeper into that, and I really did kind of click today, was I want the feeling, I want to be in a position of you in the same way that the podcast hard drives are. Like being on Rumble isn't a total position of fuck you. They can still boot you. But like the hard drives I have that can survive like EMPs, fire and water and vibration and impact and dust in multiple states and bulletproof safe, so they're also bulletproof. To me, that's a feel of like I don't lose a millisecond of sleep. I don't even lose a millisecond of daydream thought to is the podcast safe? I'm like, it's so safe, it's actually kind of annoying. It's actually fake and gay. And I was like, and I want that. Now, why do I want that? And it's hard to put this into words. I don't want anything more in my day-to-day life. Like, what would I do if I had $100 billion? I would do exactly what I did. I truly would 100% do. No part of me is just saying that, if I could go back, I wouldn't change a thing. It's like, that's a lie. If you get in a time machine, you change everything. You retard. What are you, dipshit? Go invest in Amazon. That's something different. Go do that. And then you can do everything else the same, which, by the way, you wouldn't. But, like, but I'm at a point, like, if I could do anything different, what would I do? Well, I go to bed early. I wake up early. I eat healthy. I diet. I weigh myself. Drink a lot of water. I meditate. I exercise. I read or I listen to audiobooks. I do podcasts. I get to work towards something and build it up. I call my mom. I text my dad and my brothers and my cousins and my aunts every day. I send a meme to my two best friends, and I try to do shows that can help people. I try to do shows that I find fun and exciting. I try to do shows that are just interesting for no other reason than they're interesting. If I can, if I find somebody doing something I think is like a good deed, the Lord's work, I'm like, yeah, I'll offer you my platform. I play video games with my friends. I enjoy gaming. I enjoy figuring out puzzles. I enjoy all of that. I clean my apartment once a month. Like, what would I do differently? Oh, if I had $10 million, which I mean, I'd shut down the podcast. No, I wouldn't. Absolutely not at all. I legitimately enjoy this. Like, what would I do differently? I've thought of one thing and one thing only. I would get automatic blinds for all my windows. I've actually put a lot of thought into this. It's the only th the iMac's fine, the iPhone's fine, the gaming computer's fine. It's a 3080 graphics card, still buttery smooth. My shoes are fine. I don't my glasses are fine. My AirPods are good. I don't need more Audible credits. I have more books than I can read. I love my bed. I don't need a new. The only thing, truly the only thing different I would do with my windfall would not be Bentley. It would be automatic blinds because I kind of don't like taking 30 seconds at night and pulling them. Like that's it. That's it. I have put a lot of thought into this. Like daily meditation for years. I used to think I would move back up to New England and be closer to family, but I did that. I used to think, if I had the money, you know, I would I know I used to t somehow tie in if I had money, I'd probably stop drinking on weekends. And I finally realized, not realized, by checking myself in a rehab, like, oh, that just needs to end. I used to think I'd get a personal trainer, and finally last November, I was like, actually, it's called just eating less. But I'm hungry. Yeah, it's not comfortable. Neither is building muscle. Shut up. So what would I do differently now? I mean, I don't have any, God bless. I don't require any expensive prescription medication or, insulin pump or whatever pacemaker. What would I do differently? I would get automatic blinds from that. That's it. I've put so much thought into this. And again, if I'm a billionaire, so there's nothing you can think. Sure, I'd get a brand new iMac so it's 5% faster. I mean, instead of a 90-inch 4K, maybe I'd get a 100-inch 8K. If I had infinite money, yeah, sure, there are things you can tweak. Sure. I'm sure I can get glasses that are, I don't know, d designed perfectly for my head. But I mean, what? What? Shut the up. So physically, the only thing I would do differently. Yeah, I mean, the air conditioning, my refrigerator, my washer dryer, uh, the lights. I mean, my Honda Civic works fine. I would get automatic blinds. Like that's what I would get automatic blinds. I would like that. That's it. That is it. I like where I live. I like how close I am to my family. And I like how I also have some space. Dead sober, dieting. It's all good. So then what is the purpose of it? So am I really striving for blinds? No. The other thing, and it's what dawned on me today, is I would like to be in a position of you with the podcast. It's already there with hard drives. It's not there with revenue. Now, have I ever had people threaten to pull revenue or sponsor because of episodes I've done? Not once. YouTube did, but I never was given a penny by YouTube. I never made it into the program. I've never had that. I've never, because again, it's sort of like by the time you've been banned by everything, the sponsors you get after being banned by everything are probably also sponsors that themselves have been banned or don't care or they like that you've been banned. But I've been thinking about it even deeper. Sometimes I bump my glasses into the microphone and I'll jump back. It like still scares the shit out of me, and it has for years. The reason I would like to be in a position of you with money is to just keep doing everything in my life that I'm doing right now. I would like to just keep doing this every day for the next 50 years. And I would also like to never, not once, I want money independent of the podcast. so that the podcast never has to change at all. Ideally, I would do the show every day and then just upload the file. I would never edit it and make it glossy. I would never pay, services to promote it and buy ads on Twitter. Those are all things you do where if you get some money, you would invest in those so you could grow your money. But if I had money where I didn't need more, I would never even promote it. I would legitimately just do it for the love of the game. Like I would just want to do great episodes and have people discover it at episode 5,000 and be like, yeah, this kind of looks shitty, and then realize like, oh, there are no sponsors, there are no ads, there are no nothing, and it's just legitimately it can't be canceled because I don't care if it's canceled. Like right now, it still kind of has a hold on me. It's my revenue source. I would like to have money, not so I can stop doing the podcast, but so the podcast can go in perpetuity and truly never bend the knee and just be what it is forever, which is kind of like a magical realization. It's a magical realization to realize that you wouldn't change anything about your life. That's a pretty special thing. To like, I wouldn't move anywhere. I wouldn't change my car. I live exactly where I am, like exactly what my car is. I love my bed. I love my bedroom. I love everything. I love my water bottles. My buddy Drew Bob sent this to me. I like it all. Maybe automatic ice in the freezer. But I kind of like the responsibility of making the ice. I kind of like that daily reminder of just discipline and perpetuity. Now there's a car horn honking, and I would like for that to end. So maybe a javelin missile. How hardcore would that be to just step out on my porch and fire a javelin missile in downtown? What would be the response to that? Like how quickly? I mean, because you're not just getting the police with that, right? Actually, I'm pretty close to an airport. That could be bad. I mean, firing a javelin missile, that would be bad. But so automatic curtains and a javelin missile, but that car horn just went off. So I don't need the javelin missile anymore. See, the world rises up to meet you. What time is it? Do I have a phone call? No, not right now. But it's kind of a special realization to have that if I was given $10 million or $100 million or $1 billion, gun to my head, I wouldn't change anything except for the automatic curtains. I wouldn't, and it's like, oh, but then you'd quit the podcast. No, I would keep doing the podcast, but it would be even sloppier than it is. There would truly not even be an attempt at like editing. Like right now, the Untamed, like they put it through and they make the graphics and it looks very nice. But I wouldn't even do that. I would just upload it. Maybe go live, maybe I wouldn't, whatever. It's like so I would love a ton of money so I can keep doing exactly what I'm doing, which is a weird paradox. So even if I don't get a ton of money and I have to keep doing this to make money, then I'm still Gucci because this is what I want to do. The choke point would be if the revenue stops, then I would have to stop doing this, and then I wouldn't be doing exactly what I'm doing every day. That's what I wouldn't like. But I have no problem working towards that. But yeah, I mean, legitimate. If I was just notification from the bank, you $1 billion, nothing would change, and that's kind of a beautiful thing. I mean, that is the glory of God. Yeah, I don't. No, 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 no. Automatic curtains, and I would do the show the same way every day, same time. And I would start a family. That's yeah, that would yeah. That's kind of a special realization. So anyway, I don't know. I might do these more frequently. I might also just do this one and then never do this again. I have no idea. Um, yeah, I've had people say like, "Well, if you got a ton of money, you'd build a studio and like fly guests out?" I'm like, "Absolutely not. I don't want to meet any of you. Nothing personal, but I don't fucking want. Why would I want to meet you? Why? No, we'll do it to the computer. Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of all I got right now. So I don't know. I might do this every day. I might literally never do this again. I don't know. But food for thought. I don't know what was accomplished here today, and I don't really care. So go support the podcast and whatever the go get you an energy drink. It does taste like the original Rockstar. But yeah, I don't know. Do whatever you want.